Every time we're out in the garden, Monroe seems to think that there's something going on in the shed. So today we're starting our garden from seed, but we gotta keep an eye on things just to see if he has some insights that we're not aware of. There's about a 2-week period every single year where it starts to feel like you should start your garden. This is that period. And so I wanted to just jump in, and while I'm starting up the seeds of the things that I like to grow in the garden, I figured I'd take you along, not only to tell you the seeds that I grow, but how I grow them, how it all works. And in the meantime, Monroe is very suspicious that something is going on with the shed. So I'm gonna let him be the garden guardian. I'm bad. He really truly believes there's something in the shed. He's never caught anything, but he is persistent in policing the area. So we'll let him guard what's going on in the garden, huh, bud? Yeah. You want me to let you in there? We're gonna see what it is. Puppy, what is it? So there's a couple things that I do when I'm starting seeds each year, and I don't start everything from seeds, but there are certain things that they're just better from seed, and sometimes I can't even find them at the nursery. But the two things that I focus on is making sure that the environment, all of the conditions that the seeds experience and the seedlings experience is healthy and good and quality. The other thing I like to do, and I learned this really early on in my gardening journey, is that if you don't buy quality seeds, you're probably not gonna have strong plants. And so if you go to Walmart and pick up, whatever brand, or Home Depot or wherever you pick up your seeds, and they're fine. I mean, they'll grow, and you have to do a lot more love and TLC to them to make sure that they're healthy. And for instance, the first year I picked up some cucumbers, planted them from seed. Sure enough, they sprouted, lots of foliage. But as soon as the fruit started forming, the pests came and all the plants got destroyed. But I've noticed that if I buy better quality seeds, like from Botanical Interest, based in Loveland, Colorado, you can pick them up at Natural Grocer or you can order them from their website. But like these Space Master cucumbers, they always grow so much better. They're a lot more pest and disease resistant. And so that is my first pick, is the Space Master 80. I don't know why the 80 is there, but Space Master. I just plant a few of these, like 3 or 4 of these plants, because you really just direct sow them. You don't need to put them in here. So that will go into a direct sow pile, but I'm gonna go ahead and get that done today as well. And he really thinks there's something over there. We gotta find out what it is. Papa, what you doing, bud? What you doing? The other thing I like to grow pretty much as early as possible is leafy greens. And I have this Paris Island lettuce. It's a romaine lettuce. It grows pretty quick. It says on the back that it takes 21 to 68 days to be edible. So basically in 3 weeks, you can potentially have some lettuce. And if you succession plant these, then you pretty much always have lettuce. So I'll actually be starting lettuce seeds, not just now, but I'll start some more in 2 weeks. And then I'll start some more in 2 weeks after that. For the past few years that I've been in this garden, I have always tried to do leafy greens, and I'm just not really super good at it. I can't tell if it's that it's just hot, or if I don't water them enough, or what's going on with any of it, but frankly, I'm just not super good at it. So if you have tips, you can let me know what to do with lettuce. Let me just pull out the ones that I know I want to grow. There we go. One thing I also love about these little containers, I'll talk about those later, it's so satisfying, but the packet sits perfectly on top of the container, and so you can kind of like plan everything out like that. So if you're like, oh, that's gonna be lettuce, and this is gonna be beets, and this will be watermelon, whatever else, then you can kind of literally have a visual display of what you're about to do. The next thing I'm gonna grow is some butternut squash. This stuff is amazing. This is the Waltham butternut squash, and I grew a little bit of them in the fall last year, but I'm gonna try them in the spring this year. It says that you really need to grow them after the first spring frost. I tried it in the fall. They worked okay. I got like 10 of them. They were really small, but I got some. So I'm gonna try those now in the spring and hopefully I get much better success. I also am gonna grow some of these pork chop slicer tomatoes. They're yellow, kind of orange colored, I mean. And they're really citrusy almost. And I like citrusy tomatoes. I don't really like normal tomatoes. So citrusy tomatoes are kind of like the way to go. My all-time #1 pick, the absolute shining star of my garden, is the Sun Gold cherry tomato. If you don't like tomatoes, I really don't like tomatoes. If you don't like tomatoes, this is the tomato for you. If you do like tomatoes, this is the tomato for you. And I'll tell you why. Not only is this the easiest plant that I have ever grown and never failed at, you don't even need to plant that many because tomatoes are like rabbits. You just cut off a sucker, stick it in some dirt, boom, you've got another plant. Like they're the easiest thing to grow. If you haven't grown anything ever before, please, for the love of yourself and for the love of gardening, for the love of being outdoors and actually eating something from your garden, grow Sun Gold tomatoes. I usually grow I plant like 6 of these and then I just like trim them like crazy and replant them in a bunch of pots and hand them out to friends. So Sun Gold tomato, definitely making the cut. And last but not least is my varieties of basil. So I always grow at least Genovese basil and Thai basil. But last year I tried to grow some of this lemon basil and it was also quite good. So if you don't like basil, then you're crazy, but these are the goat. You should grow basil. Basil's the goat. The good thing to know about basil as well is that it is very good at telling pests to go away. It's bold in that way. It'll just be like kicking pests out of your garden like crazy. So you can grow marigolds, French marigolds specifically, and then basil, and you'll have a lot less pest issues, at least in zone 7A or 7B. I can't remember what we're really in because we're kind of right on the line. But anyway, here in Southwest Missouri, that's what I do. I just don't really spray anything ever. I just grow a lot of basil and a lot of French marigolds, and it works pretty good. I'm also kind of considering a few other things. Like I've got some milkweed here for the monarch butterflies. I've got a handful of things here that I want to do, but like for instance, like the lettuces and the cucumbers, I'm just gonna direct sow that stuff. All these flowers. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. Here's my sleeper pick for the day. The Mexican sunflower, also known as torch. This is like a coral orangey red color, and it's not a typical sunflower where it shoots up one stalk and then spreads off a bunch of like one big and then maybe a couple little sunflowers. This is almost more of like it's not a bush, but it's like a small plant that then sort of like a cherry tomato. Like if you think of a tomato plant, it's got like some little branches and then there's like fruit on the end. That's basically the same style that this is. It'll kind of vine up things, but it is strong enough to hold itself up generally. I mean, they're just gorgeous. And also, fun fact, the more red and blue and purple you put into your garden, the more pollinators will come to your garden. So grow these. Okay, so anyway, man, Monroe is still on guard back there. He is like serious about that. What are you doing, bud? Do you find anything? Hey, come here. Did you find anything out in the garden? Hey, did you hear something in the shed? Do you want to tell me, you want to show me what you found in the shed? Okay, let's look, go on. Papa, should we check? There's nothing back here, dude. I appreciate your effort, but I don't see anything back there. The last two things that I want to show you about my seed starting setup is these trays. Now, basically everything that I have is from Botanical Interest. You can go there and buy all this stuff. I'll put a link in the description if you want to go there. It's not affiliate link, it's just a great place to shop, and I've had these for years, and you don't have to replace them, which is nice. They have lots of cool things, like the side of them have slots for the air pruning, so as your plant grows, rather than the roots spinning and getting stuck somewhere, they'll naturally prune themselves when the root hits the air. It'll say, nope, we can't grow that way, and it'll send roots into the soil. It also has these finger plugs, which is really nice because you can just pop your finger through, and they're actually quite sized nicely for even big hands. So you can just push those through and your plug comes out, and then you put it in the garden. Sometimes I buy the seed starter mix. That's just, I think this one's from Menards or something, I don't know. I like to use coconut coir rather than peat moss just because it's more sustainably sourced. But do what you gotta. Honestly, you're probably not starting enough seeds to make that much of an impact, so just get what you want and start some seeds. If you don't want to buy separate potting soil and seed starting mix, just buy potting mix. And you can get a little mesh grate. It works pretty good, but you just kind of have to sift some of the chunkier stuff out. And the finer bits are perfect for seed starting. So you can then take the woody bits and just throw them in your garden bed because they'll break down and they'll feed your soil, and ta-da, you used everything and you only had to buy one bag. That's kind of my plan, and it always works for me, and I just suggest doing something similar. Is there anything over there, or is it just in the shed? He knows the word shed, I think, because every time I say it, he goes running over there. He does, he knows what that means. I have stored seeds recklessly, and I have stored seeds not recklessly. Now, recklessly might look like this, where you just have a bunch of seeds in a pot. And just to be fair, I didn't buy all these at full price. Our local restore had them for 10 cents. And so I spent like 10 bucks and got like a ridiculous amount of seeds to try. They don't germinate very well, so it was kind of a waste of money. And frankly, I should probably just toss these. But for fun, sometimes I just leave them because you never know. Might be fun to try stuff. But what I really recommend is getting some kind of waterproof, like something. If you're an outdoorsy person, you probably have something like this. Not a dry bag, but literally this is like a waterproof container. And I like it because I just store these in the shed all winter. No moisture from the air and no water from the sky or from the ground or anywhere else is gonna get on your seeds and ruin these expensive seed packets. And that's what we want. We don't want anything that's expensive to go to waste. What is it, bud? Did you find something? We gotta check. So that's really it. I'm gonna start these seeds and I'll show you some of that here in the garden now. See what's in here? Now this is not the biggest shed. I actually can't even stand up in it. But Monroe thinks there's mice. Monroe's report is that there's probably some mice in here. Which if there is, I don't think he could do anything about it because no matter what, anytime he's tried to catch something, actually there was literally a time where there was a mouse in the garden and it ran up into a pot and he grabbed it, or he like put his paw on it and then was like, what am I supposed to do now? And so he would literally just kind of like play with it, because every time he would stop it, he would just be like, what am I supposed to do? So not a ton of survival instincts in this guy left, but he sure is cute. And he at least lets me know that there's stuff going on, even if he's not that much help in actually solving any of the problems. So, yeah, that's mystery solved. Mystery solved, bud.